Alright, guess what? I am going to give you guys a tutorial. I have not done a tutorial in a very long time. So maybe you'll like seeing something different from me besides selling my mini albums and selling my stuffed D-stashes. But anyways, I am making a journal. I'm not going to call it a junk journal because it's not going to be filled with all kinds of stuff. It's kind of like a mini album journal, I should say. I don't know. I've made them before. They sold really quickly, so, but I decided to make this one because I kind of want to try my hand at doing those traveler's notebooks that I saw Bona doing. I really think they're cute. I'm not a planner person. I don't write things down. I will never get into that. But anyways, let me move on to this video. I'll show you what we're going to be making and how I got it. I am doing this paper collection from Dreams, etc. I did the baby book, and thank you to the person that just bought that. It sold very quickly if you see my previous videos. But anyway, I think this is going to be a long video, guys, so you can put me on while you're crafting and just listen, and I will, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you the papers from this digital collection because I want to get on to the tutorial, but, so stay tuned for that. But this, I was crafting my journal here. I started it. That's going to be the front, the back. These papers are digital papers that I printed off. They're from Dreams, etc. And it's DREAMZETC.com. She has an Etsy store. She has a YouTube store. I think it's an Etsy store. Don't hold me to that. Just type in Google Dreams with a Z, not an S, etc. ETC. You'll pull up her store, digital papers and stuff, and you can go shopping there. Oh my gosh. I haven't been sparked by papers in a long time, and I really wasn't a digital person, but I really like this. So enough of that. Stay tuned to the end, and I'll tell you more about that and show you the whole collection. The one I'm using is, oh, darn it, I thought I wrote it down. Vintage Love Story Part 2 or something. I don't know. Sneak peek of it. It's gorgeous paper. It comes with tags and everything. I highly recommend. But anyways, she also, the girl who designed all this, she has a YouTube channel, and it's Dreams, DREAMZ, etc., ETC. Go in the YouTube search bar, type that, you'll pull up her videos. She makes all kinds of journals, her and her mom, with her papers. And I'm telling you, they're the most fabulous journals I have ever seen. So I have to give her kudos for making this paper and letting us play with it. But her stuff is just phenomenal, the way she does her journals. I mean, wow. So let's get on with it. Well, I saw something on one of her videos because I just have it kind of playing while I'm crafting. And I just kind of at the spur of the moment came up with this and decided I would do a tutorial really quick. So here it goes. Now, these coin envelopes have been around. I didn't invent them. I didn't invent, you know, the journals. I didn't do any of this. But this is what I just came up with that I liked from just taking pieces, parts of things. And this might have been done, but I don't know of this way. So whatever. I'm going to show you what I did because I'm making my, I'm using the paper to make my signatures. And I wanted to do a pocket. On one of her videos, she does kind of these tags. She used like a Tim Holtz die, and she like embosses it and paints it and with glue, and it is cool. It wasn't this, but she took a frame of Tim Holtz die and like cut it so that her things just slide in. Well, then it inspired me to, oh, let me make a pocket on top of this. So that's how I came up with this. Thought I'd do a tutorial. This is the size I made for my journal. You can follow this, but also know it's the same concept. You can make it any size that you want to. So I already started the video once and I messed up because I didn't do the right sizes, but I will utilize these pockets in my journal somewhere else. But to make this exact thing that I made, it has pockets on both sides. The tags from her collection fit in it perfectly from the digital paper collection. So I can put it in my journal. And I'm not putting anything on this side because I figure you could put a photo or paper and write or whatever. But anyways, let me show you one of the signatures. that I wanted to create it for. So here's one of my signatures, and I wanted it to go like that. It will go like that, and then the tags can go in there like that. You'll be able to open it up, and then the coffee dyed papers, and then it'll be around the other side. So her papers are designed really for journaling, but I used them for the baby scrapbook too. So I just print her stuff on regular Recollections cardstock from Michaels. This is the brand I prefer, 65-pound weight. I stick it in my printer, the white, and I print off the stuff. And I'm telling you, I've already made like 4 or 5. I made 3 of the baby, and I made 1 back in the spring that I didn't even show a video on, from a different company that I never even videoed, but it was a custom order. And I'm still going strong. And I printed this collection twice, and my ink is not even faded yet, so not too bad. I was against it at first, but then when I tried it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. All right, let's get on with this. So that's how I wanted this, and this is what I came up with. So I will walk you through it right now, and then stay tuned at the end, and I'll kind of show you the collection and give you more about. But I highly recommend just go to her video, just watch her journals, even if you don't want it. It'll give you inspiration for things, and I needed that because I just was in a lull for a while. So anyways, this that I'm using the Recollections craft cardstock from Michaels. It's just the regular 8.5 by 11. So you want to start out by, and I make all my pockets with this same manner. I'm just showing you this on this flap. So this is what we are going to be making. And you want to start out, I had to make a mock one so I could write the measurements down because I kept screwing it up. So we know that we want it to be the 11 because when you fold it in half, it's 5.5, and that'll give you the, you know, to go on both sides. So we want to keep it at the 11. Take your paper trimmer, and this is we're making the base part right now. So I want it, cut it at 3.5 by 11. So go with your paper on the 8.5 by 11 going across the 8.5. You want the 11 to keep it. So you want to do 3.5. So I'm going to put it at 3.5 by 11. And I'm going to cut it. So now I have this 3.5 by 11 piece of paper. You can score it at 5.5 to fold it. And whenever you score it, you always end up with a little pinch more on one side, which is what I did over here. Did I? Maybe I didn't. No, I did it on my other one. That's how when I scored it, you ended up with more because of the score line. So it doesn't matter because it's going to be way back. Nobody will ever know. But if you don't have a score, just fold it in half. Line up your corners like that. Take your bone folder and push it down. And that kind of gives you a better, where it's even. Okay? So there we have the thing that this pocket coin thing is going to sit on, and then it'll be able to wrap in your journal pages like this. And you can just use it as a flap if you want. But all right, and I rounded my corners with this old Stampin' Up! Corner punch I've had for many, many moons. Probably one of the first things I ever bought. One of. And I just round these corners. You don't have to, but I think it just looks better. You could punch the edges with a die if you want. Pretty die. So I did that. And I ink my edges with the Vintage Photo from Tim Holtz Distress ink. I've had it. Yeah, it's quite old. I buy the ink and I refill it. And I just give my edges a quick distressing. I need a new sponge because it's flaking off. But that's okay because I'm not worried about getting ink on things because it's vintagey looking and the little splots look good. And I normally don't create on this mat. I have a glass table, but the lights reflect in it, so I have to put it down for doing videos. So now you want to, because this is going to be on both sides, make sure you open it up and ink the other edges as well for the inside. So I'll do that. And I'm going kind of quick on this just to make this video not last forever. So brush off my little spongy flakes. So we have that part. And now I want to make the pocket, which I made a mock one. And you want to cut this at 4 by 5.5. Okay? So you should have a leftover piece from that. And you'll get 2 out of this. So I want to make it 4 inches. And then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to make it by 5.5, which will give me 2 out of this because I did, you know, the 11 is long. So by 5.5. And then this should equal the same. So you're going to get 2 pieces at 4 by 5.5. Now you're going to score it. Now, normally when I make my pockets, I always score 1/2 inch on all 3 sides. This particular one, I did it to fit the tag and fit on the front of this. So on these long edges, I scored it, I put it down, there's the 1/2 inch mark, which I normally would score that. Let me zoom in. You don't have to, if you're making this exact thing, do it this way, but if you're just making a normal pocket, do it at 1/2 inch. I do it, there's the 1/2 inch, and I'm going 1 before it. On each, just on the 2 sides. And I only did that because the way I wanted it to fit. And I'm not gonna, and technically you just want the flaps to be able to glue down. Alright, but on the bottom, I went ahead, so I turn it, and then I do on the bottom, I did do it at the 1/2 inch, so scoring it at the 1/2 inch. Alright, let's go ahead and do it to both of these, because we're going to have 2. And you could put pockets on the inside if you want as well. I'm just giving you the basics. You run with it and do it how you want, and then post a video to inspire us to come up with more ideas, because that's what YouTube is all about. And you don't get a lot of that nowadays. Alright. YouTube isn't really what it used to be. When I remember first watching it, I used to be glued to it. People have disappeared. And alright, so now we scored both of these for our pockets, and then you want to take it and fold them in. I use my little bone folder to make my creases. Come on, Matt, stay still. Should tape it down. No, I do not have ringworm. Before you even ask and get freaked out, it's a scar. It has something to do with diabetes. You get these little patches of red and then they scar like that. If you get an injection, it begins with a P. There is a name for it. I get tired of telling people, so when they say, I just say, no, I burned myself. But because this one's a complete circle, people think it's ringworm and freak out, and it's not. Trust me. Alright, so I burnished all my edges. If you get an injection of steroid underneath it with a needle, because I've had it before, it'll go away in a couple days. But I don't care. I'm not paying. Unless I go to the doctor for something and then I tell them, hey, do that. Because insurance won't cover it. Alright. So that gives us this. Now we want to cut out our little corners so we can fold our paper up. And you'll see where you see it squared, just kind of do it at a slight angle so when you fold it up, it's not getting in the way. And just cut out those bottom corners. My hands are jittery because I've had like 3 cups of coffee this morning and I don't drink as much coffee as I used to. Alright, so I'm cutting out my little corners. So then these will fold in. Now, I always, when I make my, this is for all my pockets, and I've said this before in other videos if you've watched. I always fold these in and then the bottom up. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Is because if you look, and if you like pretend you did it this way, well that makes a little nub. Where these go all the way down, so your stuff's going to slide in and not hit that nub. So that's why I put that on the outside. If you mess up and you get it on the inside, no big deal. Don't waste it. So now I'm going to take score tape. I buy mine on Amazon, just Amazon score tape. I use the 1/4 inch one. But you can use whatever adhesive of your choice is. And I go all the way and I put my score tape on. All my flappy edges. You can rip it easily. I just like to cut it within the paper, the way the angle of the paper is. And then you put a piece at the bottom. Let's do them both. Let me zoom out because I'm having a hard time getting on frame. It's hard to do tutorials when you're trying to create and be on frame and watch if your camera shuts off. So, there we go. And like I said, these pockets have been around for a long time. I didn't create nothing new. I just thought I'd show you how to do this particular one. Okay, so now what I want to do is push in those 2 long sides, and I'm just going to pick up a piece of my score tape and push that up and glue it down and then put that back down so it's not, so it's all ready for me. Okay, and then I'll peel the rest off when I glue it down. So there you go. There's your, it created your pocket that's going to lay on top of this. And you see I'm going to have a slight edge going around, and I wanted that. So now I have to ink up. I'm not going to do that other one. I want to ink up both of these sides as well, or all these sides with my ink. And if you're not doing that, then you'll go to the next step. I was tickled when I made this. I'm like, I love this. Look at it. I love this little flappy put the tags in. And it's, I mean, I've seen people do extremely similar, and maybe if not the same thing, but I'm not a tutorial. I'm more of a, I watch YouTube videos to get inspiration. Some things I have to, like these journals, oh my gosh, those traveler's notebooks, I have to sit and watch videos on the sizes and the names. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to like doing it, but I'm going to try. Alright, so now I have, if you want to get this groove, the little groove right there, I use my circle punch, which you've all known how to do that. I, a long time ago, inked with a Sharpie of where I can do half of the circle to do this. So I always have that there. So you turn it over, because this is going to be the side. I always turn my punch over and I stick it in. I eyeball it as to each of these sides that I have it in the middle. And I just eyeball it, making sure I have the same amount on each side. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then where my marks are, that's how I know where to stop it, because it's going to give me half a circle. And that looks pretty much even. And I punch it out. And then that gives me that groove. So see, just eyeballing it, I pretty much got it even. And then don't forget to ink in there as well. Okay, so now we take our little flappy and we're going to glue it on. So we peel off our tape. The best way to peel this off is with a nice sharp blade and stick it. Sometimes if you do it at the corner it doesn't work. It's better to go down to the side and up, and it comes off really easy. So now it's easier to open this up and just work with the 1/2 and then kind of place it. Some people don't like tape because they can't, once it's down, I barely touch it. I eyeball it to, you know, if you get one, you can eyeball it to see if you're straight here and make sure you're equal distance, because that's my hinge, so I know I'm up more. And I press that down and the rest will fall into place. So there you go. There's the pocket on top. Now we have to put the decorative paper, and we will put it on the other one on this side as well. But I will do that off camera so it's not a horribly long video, or I'll chat with you when I do it, when I'm done. So now I want to find a piece of the decorative paper. I try to go ahead and use ones that I've already cut up. And I'm just going to grab this one because I already have it cut, because you want to decorate the top of it. So this is just a piece that I have. So with this one, you're going to want to, whatever this was, which it was 4 by 5.5, but you want to, the half was for the marking. So this measures 3 1/4. I'm just talking the front of your tag pocket, not the whole thing. 3 1/4 by 5. So that means I want to make this decorative paper to go on top 1/4 of an inch all the way around smaller. So if we have 3 1/4, I'm going to make it 3 going this way by, what was it? It's 5, so I want to make it 4 3/4. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my paper. And I'm going to use this part, so I want to trim off the edge so I can get a good measurement. Alright, so now turn your paper to the way you want to cut it, the way you want it to go. I'm going to want that on there. So I'm going to go 3 this way. And I save all my scraps because that will make a beautiful pocket down the road, or tuck spot. Get my pencil out of here. By 4 3/4. So 4 3/4. I'm going to cut it right there. And this is going to be the decorative paper now that's going to sit on there, but I have to cut out my little circle. So you just do it the same way, because this is already 1/4 of an inch smaller around, so you don't have to... Oh, my battery's going to die. I thought I had it charged. Same thing. Put it in there, measure it up. It looks equal on both sides, and I punch it out. And then you're going to ink your edges if you want. Now this one you don't have to do the other side because it's just the decorative. It's going to glue right on top. And then you're going to take your tape and put it along or glue it, whatever adhesive you want. I do the tape because these are journals. They're gonna be touched and handled. I don't want my edges. And I'm pretty good at getting my tape along all my edges. But like I said, you do it how you want. If you just want to use glue, I'm pretty good at getting it right on the edge, so I know that it's never going to peel up unless you rip it and force it and try to tear it up. And I've tried. If I've made an error, I've tried to correct it. It ain't going nowhere. Just start over. Alright. And then I will put a little bit of piece right there. My battery is about to die. Doggone it. And I gotta wait to charge it. Okay, so I got my score tape on the back of that. I'm going to peel it off and stick it on there. And I hit a little bit of glue. I always use the fabric tack glue. And you don't need much, just so I know it's secure and I don't get the pockets from the tape and the air bubbles and stuff. It makes it nicer, believe me. You don't have to, but it just makes it nicer. And then I kind of hold this to get it lined up so my corners, you know, I want that 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch or whatever it is on each side. If you're having trouble, go along the bottom. If that's straight and it's equal on both sides, push it down and it'll fall into place for you. Now that one's a little bit off, but that's okay because I'm on camera. I would have got it straighter and I will still use it. So there you go. We're just going to repeat that process to our other piece to glue it on the other side, and voila, you have your beautiful little pocket the air tag fits into, and you can put it in your journal. If you're going to stitch it, you'll stitch it in your journal. You can go right on top of one of your cover papers, and you could put a note and tuck things, and I just love it. All right, I am going to go charge the battery and come back and show you this papers and stuff like that. Take care, bye. All right, let me see if I could just get this in before the battery dies so I don't have to come back. So anyways, yes, I'm going to be creating this journal. It's going to be like a writing journal, and you can hold photos in it. I have my signatures getting ready to go, and I'm just adding stuff. I'll do stamping and all that. Like I said, this is from Dreams Etc., the digital paper, and I just printed off, come on, before my battery dies. I just printed off, here it is. Now in this collection you will get, you can buy the whole package, or you could just buy the tags and the envelopes part. I do the whole collection. It's cheaper and you get everything. And like I said, you can reuse and print as many as you want, and you cut these out. So it's gorgeous. Here is the papers. I'll show you before my battery runs out. There's one. There's the other. Another one. Look, it's just so beautiful. I love it. The baby one's to die for too. I'm running out of time. You'll have to pause them if you want to see. Look at that. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Look at that. And like I said, you can cut and use it sideways and pieces and corners and keep printing to reuse it in different ways. You don't have to just make a journal out of this. You can do anything. You could decoupage with it. Alright, so there's that. I do highly recommend check out her YouTube channel. You'll get lots of inspiration. And I'm going to get this video up, and then I'm going to work on making this journal, and I'll be back when it's finished. Bye.